The PlayStation Platinum project has always had one goal: to try and find all 160 PAL released PlayStation 1 games. But of course, the PAL region doesn't just mean the UK, it also means Europe and Australia. So this time the PlayStation Platinum project is going global. Hello again folks, and welcome back to the PlayStation Platinum project. My challenge for 2023 to try and find all 160 PAL released PlayStation 1 Platinum games. And that is the thing about this collection, they are PAL released. I'm here in the UK, but all of these games were not released in the UK. At the end of the last episode, we discovered there was actually exclusive games released in certain regions. We found a game which was only released in Germany, and this set me off on a hunt that went global, trying to find the last games we need for the PlayStation Platinum project. At the end of the last episode, we ended on 122 games, meaning we have 38 left to find, and if needs must, we're taking the hunt global. Before we take the PlayStation Platinum project worldwide, I want to remind you folks, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new episodes of the PlayStation Platinum project out periodically. That's really hard to say, but I will list every episode down below in a playlist, so join me for the PlayStation Platinum project. But before we take the PlayStation Platinum project global, we are starting off closer to home, right here in my home city of Norwich. That's because recently we had a brand new gaming market come to Norwich, and you know I had to check it out, but there is a slight problem. Here we are then at a brand new convention here in Norwich, the video game retro market, and this was the first time this convention had ever been to Norwich, and I was super excited to go here platinum hunting for the PlayStation Platinum project. But there was a problem. The footage I filmed here for this episode of the PlayStation Platinum project was not transferred from my old phone to my new phone. So the footage you are seeing here is from a previous video which I shot at the Norwich Retro Gaming Market. Now here is the problem: I did manage to pick up 2 Platinum games at this convention for the PlayStation Platinum project, but I have no footage of me picking them up, so unfortunately you will just have to take my word for it. But there was a lot of PlayStation 1 games and a fair selection of PlayStation Platinum games, and I did manage to pick 2 of these games up, which I think at the point we're at in the PlayStation Platinum project is a good thing. 2 games isn't too bad, and I do have a sneaky little spoiler here of what one of those games were. The eagle-eyed of you might have spotted this in my last episode from here. Of course, I did manage to pick up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, a game which I've been looking for absolutely ages. But not only that, we managed to pick up one other game, so let's take it back to the games room. Here we are then, back in the games room for that brand new gaming market here in the fine city of Norwich. And bad news about the footage, I do apologise, but that is one of the wonders of modern technology. Sometimes you just lose the footage. But good news, we still managed to pick up 2 PlayStation Platinum games to cross off the list. The first of which you would have seen sneakily hiding in the video is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. And this is really exciting as this finally finishes the quadrilogy of 4 of my favourite games available on the PlayStation 1. This was marked at £11. I of course managed to haggle it down to £10. And the other game I managed to pick up is a game which has surprised me it's taken this long to pick up. It's Toka World Touring Cars. Now you see Toka Touring Cars and even Toka Touring Cars 2 all the time, but this is one you don't see as often. Again, this one was marked at 6 and I managed to haggle it down to 5. But not too bad. A brand new gaming market and 2 games crossed off the list. For this next section, we're heading a little bit further away from home. Not quite globally as yet, but recently I was down in London for a very special occasion. Of course, recently I was in London for AEW All In at Wembley, which was one of the greatest nights of my life. And of course, whilst I was in London, I did visit 3 more CEX stores for the crazy world of CEX. But herein lies the problem. At this point in the PlayStation Platinum project, to this date, there are only 4, yes, 4 Platinum games that CEX have in stock that I need for the PlayStation Platinum project. And if you think about the hundreds of CEX stores around the country, the chances of walking into one now and finding one of these 4 games are becoming very, very slim. Which means at this point in the PlayStation Platinum project, I've had to make the difficult decision to start playing the CeX Roulette. At this point, I cannot travel halfway around the country for the sake of maybe finding one game. So in this episode, we have the very first CeX Roulette for a PlayStation Platinum game. As we're coming to the end of this challenge, I think this is one of the only ways that we're going to complete the PlayStation Platinum project. So wish me luck on this, the first CeX Roulette for the PlayStation Platinum project. Here we have it then, folks. I cannot believe it took until September for me to pick up the first game for the PlayStation Platinum project using the CeX Roulette. I have tried to hold off for as long as possible, but this is one of the games which I set up a stock alert for, as this is a game I never, ever see. I couldn't find a copy of this anywhere. I was actually starting to doubt if this game existed, but it was listed on the CeX website, so I set the stock alert and I absolutely jumped at the chance to grab this one as soon as I got the email saying it was back in stock. I have checked this one because there was a couple of weeks ago when I ordered this, and to be honest, I had no faith this was going to be correct, but it turned up. It is in amazing condition, and it is the platinum release of this game right here, Ridge Racer Type 4. Now, I have never seen the platinum release of this game anywhere. I couldn't find a copy on eBay. I wasn't sure if this existed, and when it came up on the CeX website for just £14, I had to absolutely jump at this one. And this is the thing, it is getting so hard to find games that we even need in CeX now. As I said earlier in the video, at this point in the PlayStation Platinum project, there is just 4 games in stock at CeX that we need, and one of them is the game which I'm hoping will be the final game we pick up, Silent Hill, which ironically I did see whilst I was in London. But here and now, one of the main things about the PlayStation Platinum project is going back and enjoying these games, either playing them for the first time in ages or playing them for the first time. And this is a game I have very fond memories of and cannot wait to jump once again into Ridge Racer Type 4.
Ridge Racer Type 4.
That's right, here we go then, Ridge Racer Type 4. And randomly, I think the only way I actually played this game back in the day was on a demo disc. It's amazing how like some of those demos from those magazines back in the day hold such memories. I don't think I ever played the full game of this, but I just remember playing one of these laps, just racing against the Pac-Man car, and I'm kind of hoping like we can jump straight in using that vehicle. Well, it seems like this is the obvious choice of racing team Pac Racing Club from Japan. And let's see what cars they have that we can take around the track. I'm hoping the car that I remember from the demo is in the game. I'm just going to skip through all this bit and get straight onto the car. Yes, we'll go with some drift style. So, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can get the Pac-Man car straight out of the gates, but let's jump into a game and see how well I can remember playing this one.
Real Racing Hits 99 in Helter Skelter.
I don't know what it is, but I just love the start of these races. You know, of course. I find it weird that the default view in these games is always like first person, where I can't really think many people ever played these in first person back in the day. But one thing that does amaze me is this game has held up graphically. Like, this looks super good still. For like an arcade racing game from this period, this game has stayed looking really good. The controls on this are super tight. Like, this handles, it feels like it handles better than like some modern racing games. You've got a fair amount of drift, but it still feels like you can feel the weight and heaviness of the car. Like, this feels like really, really good. For like a PlayStation 1 game, this feels so good. I know, I keep saying it, but yeah, and the graphics stay up. This is a game that really has stood the test of time. Like, and it's a shame we haven't got more Ridge Racer games now. I think it's one of those kind of series that made these a lot bigger in, say, Japan, but this feels so much better. Like, I imagine like this being more of a contender for like, I would rather go back and play this now than Gran Turismo, which is generally really surprising. But it's just one of the things I love about the PlayStation Platinum project is going back and reliving some of these games, and in the case of some of these, just realising how good they really were. As well as travelling around the UK to various gaming markets and CEX stores, one of my favourite ways I've added so many games to the PlayStation Platinum project is trading with you, the viewers of the channel. And recently I sat down with Unofficial Controller Podcast to do a podcast all about my collection, the PlayStation Platinum collection, and my YouTube channel in general. I will link that in the comments down below. It's an incredible listen and a really fun opportunity for myself to talk more about the PlayStation Platinum project. Now, also, as well as being on the Unofficial Controller podcast, I've also joined their Discord. And I cannot believe, and I'm humbled by how many people on there have seen this series, the PlayStation Platinum project. And even better than that, I've been doing some trades and adding some more games to the PlayStation Platinum project. A huge shout out to Digital Monkery, who hit me up over on the Unofficial Controller podcast Discord page when he found this game in one of my favourite local stores, the Retro Retreat in Kings Lynn. It is ISS Pro Evolution, and I've been looking for this game for a long while, and he managed to pick it up for the bargain price of just £9, and I'm so thankful to him and countless others who've been keeping an eye out for these games in their local stores. Without you folks watching, I'll never be able to complete the challenge that is the PlayStation Platinum project, and I'm so thankful for all your help. With the PlayStation Platinum project, I have always wanted to shine a spotlight on some of these local independent gaming stores like the Retro Retreat in Kings Lynn, and this time we are headed to a store which I've been trying to visit for a very, very long while. Our last destination this time is an independent gaming shop in the town of Lowestoft that I've been meaning to visit for absolutely ages. And this store is called Game Exchange in the heart of Lowestoft, and it really is a time capsule. This store looks like it's packed with absolutely everything that I love about independent retro gaming stores. We have consoles, games, loads of stuff, and I'm going to be diving into this store a little bit more in an upcoming episode of the Retro Road Trip. But of course, this time we are only here for one thing, and that is to try and cross some games off our remaining games for the PlayStation Platinum project. And we were in luck, as they had an absolutely ginormous cabinet of PlayStation 1 games. But remember, we are really late now into the PlayStation Platinum project. We are coming down to the last games we need, and it is only getting harder. Every time I go out hunting now, it gets harder and harder to find these games, and unfortunately, this time it didn't seem like we were going to be in luck. Even though Game Exchange had an absolutely humongous selection of PlayStation 1 games, both Black Label and Platinum, unfortunately there was nothing we needed here for the PlayStation Platinum project. Now you may be thinking, do they go backwards? Yes, they do. This is a really clever thing that Game Exchange does. They have doubles of the games at front behind the games, which I think is a really cool idea. And they had an amazing selection, like I said, just unfortunately nothing that I personally needed for the PlayStation Platinum project. But here is the thing with the PlayStation Platinum project. Like John Cena, we never give up and we never give in. And I always seem to find PlayStation 1 games in the least likeliest spaces. So this is Sound and Vision, an independent music shop which also sells video games. And they had a really surprisingly large selection of PlayStation 1 games, both Black Label and also Platinum games. Now sadly, this Need for Speed Porsche 2000 wasn't the Platinum release, as that is a really, really hard Platinum release to find, and one I still need for the PlayStation Platinum project. But fear not, hiding amongst these games, I did find a game we are needing, a game which has taken annoyingly long to find. It is FIFA 2000. When I first started the PlayStation Platinum project, I thought finding these FIFA games would be some of the first games we found. I picked this one up for just £3 because, I quote the shop owner, that's how much I would get for the case. This is a problem, I think, when it comes to like the PlayStation 1 games like this. No one really wants them. They see them as donor cases, and it's getting harder and harder to find the low-end titles, such as this one, Dance Stage Party Edition. But at least that's one more FIFA game ticked off the list. Back to the games room. So unfortunately, I couldn't find any PlayStation Platinum games that I needed in Game Exchange in Lowestoft, but it's definitely worth a visit. They have a massive selection, just sadly nothing I needed this time. But it just goes to show, sometimes you can find these Platinum games in the most unlikely of places. When I found this game, FIFA 2000, in a local music shop. And I cannot believe how difficult it's been to find these FIFA games because I guess, like I said in that section of the video, the store owner literally sold this to me for the value of the case. It is a sad state of affairs, but so many FIFA games do become donor boxes, which is a real shame and makes these kind of games really hard to find. I think I've got one more FIFA left to find, and fingers crossed we find it soon. Final games we're adding to the PlayStation Platinum project this time are unfortunately from eBay. Now, one reason I will grab these games off eBay, if they are just so cheap, I cannot say no. So this game was under £4. It isn't the most exciting game of all time, but it is a game we needed. It is Actua Soccer. I cannot believe it is Actua taking us this long to find this game for the PlayStation Platinum project, but there is a slight problem. So on the outside, things look good. Sadly, the case is slightly damaged, but you know, we can live without that. It does come with the manual, which again is a bonus, but unfortunately when we open it up, it comes with Actua Soccer 2, which isn't actually the Actua disc we need for this game. Now, like I said, this game was under £4, so I'm not going to go through all the palaver of sending this one back. I'll just be keeping an eye out for the actual game that we need to add to this box. As I said at the start of this episode, the PlayStation Platinum project has gone global. And this next game has come all the way from France. Yes, it has crossed the English Channel to be added to the PlayStation Platinum project. That's because, to my knowledge, I believe, with my research, this game, in this incredible way it's been packaged, is in fact a French exclusive game. I cannot find a copy of Moto Racer World Tour anywhere outside of France. So I have tried to research this to the best of my abilities, but to the best of my knowledge, this is a French exclusive PAL game. If you know otherwise, please let me know in the comments down below, but there's not a lot of research been done into the PlayStation Platinum project. Throughout this project, I've had to discover things for myself. I never knew there was so many games that were released only in specific regions and countries, and this Motor Racer World Tour is a French exclusive. Finally, this time we have one more game to add to the PlayStation Platinum project. And when I said we are going global, we are going global. This game has come all the way from a land down under, from Australia. Again, to the best of my knowledge, this game is an Australian exclusive. This game is F1 Championship Season 2000. Again, to the best of my knowledge, I cannot find a copy of this game outside of Australia, which leads me to believe this is an Australian exclusive PAL PlayStation 1 release. It kind of blows my mind that an F1 game would be exclusive to one country. And it just goes to show, even though we are coming to the end of the PlayStation Platinum project, there's still going to be some big surprises along the way. There we have it then, folks, another episode of the PlayStation Platinum project and 8 games to cross off the list, 2 of which were only available in certain countries, and these are the games I'm trying to hunt down as we are coming to the end of the PlayStation Platinum project, sadly. With these 8 games, it takes us to a total of 130 games out of the 160 PAL PlayStation 1 released games. That means we just need 30 games to complete the PlayStation Platinum project. So let's cross these off the list and add them to the shelves. Here we go then, crossing a real heavy hitter off the list. Just because this game has come from halfway across the entire world, we have our first Australian exclusive for the PlayStation Platinum project. But not only that, we have our first CeX Roulette win, as well as a game which has come a little less far, but still an exclusive, a French game. There we have it then, folks. That is another episode of the PlayStation Platinum project, and we are ending this episode on a massive milestone. We have just 30 games left to find for the PlayStation Platinum project, but we are nowhere near done. These are going to be some of the hardest games to find, and I'm going to need all your folks' help to help me complete the PlayStation Platinum project. So until next time, let the games begin. See you all soon.